Kennedy-Chouane, and I'm the head of the evaluation unit at the OECD DAC, where I manage a peer network of evaluation units from development agencies. And our organization as a peer network is based on the principle of international collaboration to promote evaluation practice and strengthen evaluation systems. And that's why I'm so excited to have such a great group of partners with us here today who are currently, as you've heard, spread around the room. We have partners from several UN agencies and the United Nations Evaluation Group, which is a sister network of ours. We have partners from the Global Evaluation Initiative, who you've heard about some. We have partners from AFREA, the African Evaluation Association, partners from the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals Coalition, and several other partners who will be sharing also from their national government perspectives from Benin, from Lesotho, from Malawi, and from Ghana, as well as a partner from China who will be sharing his experience. And finally, we have partners representing all of those entities who have come together in what's called the COVID-19 Global Evaluation Coalition. So today's session is focused on partnerships. And the goal was really to help us all think together and to get people excited about how can we collaborate as a global evaluation community, working across national governments, development agencies, and other partners to help stimulate the use of evidence and stronger evaluation systems. As I mentioned, we're combining small group examples of individual models of collaboration with a broader sharing of experiences and reflection. And it's my goal that you really leave here today feeling empowered as a member of this big global family, and you have new ideas of how we can work together to be better than the sum of our parts, more than the sum of our parts. I like to think, when I think about global evaluation collaboration, I think of a hot pot of soup. And I think, what are all the ingredients that go into making a really delicious evaluation soup? We can think maybe the beans that are in the soup are the common norms and standards. Those could be the pots that hold it. And in our role at the OECD, we're a consensus-based organization, which means we reach agreement on a set of norms and standards that are acceptable to all the partners across their diversity. This doesn't mean imposing external norms. It means having common agreed and commonly helpful sets of norms and standards that guide our work, such as ethical principles and quality standards. Different partners could bring technical skills, knowledge of how to do data collection, knowledge of how to use AI. We also bring methodologies and tools. Maybe that's some of the herbs and spices. We always need finance. Maybe that's the water and the broth of the soup that helps hold it together. We have partners who bring ideas and innovations. We have people, which is sometimes the hardest ingredients to get in our soup, right? We all have only so much time in the day. So partners can help come together, bringing their people and their capacities. We have data. We have also what I call credibility and clout. And my experience managing the COVID-19 Global Evaluation Coalition was that when we had a lessons from evaluation brief going to ministers that had on the back a sea of different logos of different institutions, that actually had a lot more weight with the ministers in the room. Because instead of saying this is the findings from one evaluation, from one institution, we said these are the key messages from all of us as a collective evaluation group. But all of these different ingredients in the soup won't make a good soup if they're sitting in a cold pot of water, right? So what is the fire? What is the fire and the wood underneath the soup that's making it boil and making the flavors come out? It's the incentives and the enabling environment that allow us to do meaningful evaluation, support us in learning and reflecting on and correcting our public actions, policies, and programs, discovering what might be working well so we can scale it up, discovering what's not working so we can stop doing it. So it's these incentives and enabling environment where I think it's really interesting to look at the role external partners, whether those are peer partners, whether that's South-South collaboration, or other forms of partnership. Now, partners can help us making this delicious evaluation soup, but I think we all know that we would be naive if we didn't acknowledge that partners can also be unhelpful in making the soup. Maybe they brought some ingredients that are not actually suited to our soup. Maybe they've brought some sugar beans that really don't fit the soup and it just doesn't match. So we're imposing these technical approaches that don't fit in our soup. Maybe we're creating incentives. We've lit the fire in the wrong place. So we're boiling another pot of water and not the pot of our soup. And that we can see happen when external funding partners, for example, put the focus on reporting results into their funding systems rather than focusing on the impact for people affected by an intervention. So keep in mind today this thought of a soup that we're all working together to build, and we'll now have a chance in small groups to discuss how do we actually work together through different examples and collaborations to build a tasty soup. So as I said, we have partners now spread throughout the room. We will have a 20-minute round, and then you don't have to move. Your presenters will move, and you will get a chance to hear a second example. So we're starting here in this corner. Harvey will wave to you with Ghana and the UNDOC. In the back corner, we have an example from China. We have all the way back by Dugan is Malawi and the Global Evaluation Initiative. In this corner, we have Benin and the World Food Program. Here we have Lesotho and the World Food Program. Kerry or somebody can wave. Thank you. And up here at the front, we have the COVID-19 Evaluation Coalition. So I will ring the bell in about 20 minutes. You'll have a chance to hear a presentation and then discuss. And I do encourage all of you to share your own perspectives. That's what today's session is all about. Thank you very much. And let's give a round of applause for our presenters to get them warmed up. Thank you. We can put off the PowerPoint and turn off the screens now. Thank you. If I can have the panelists up front, please. Colleagues, thank you. Thank you. We can turn off the PowerPoints. Thank you. We can turn off the side screens as well. We don't need them anymore. Thank you. Thank you so much, colleagues. I'm sorry we have to wrap up now. Thank you. Come sit. Yeah. Up to you. Just see if we have enough seats. I think we do. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Professor Zhang, please join us here. Yes, thank you. And if you have cards, note cards, please pass them here. Yeah, can you? Thank you, colleagues, and thank you to all of you for participating in the small groups. We're waiting just for Hermes and then the colleagues from Ghana. I can't see where you are. We have, I believe, the interpreters now, so if you would like to use the casque, les interprètes sont disponibles maintenant. Merci. Donc, on attend Alice. Si vous voulez venir, mais de ramener un écouteur avec vous. Voilà, merci. Et les collègues de Ghana, on va applaudir les collègues de Ghana. Let's clap for the Ghanaian colleagues coming from the back and UNODC. Yay! Welcome, Katharina. Thank you. Thank you both. So I would now like to open up our panel. We have about 20 minutes, so you each have about 1 minute to reflect on what you've heard in the groups. Would you like to do 2 rounds or just once and done? It's okay? Okay, let's do 1 round. You just share one idea or one thought or one reflection that came out of your small group. And if you could just say your name and your organization as you begin, don't introduce yourself, but just so that everyone orients who you are if they didn't get a chance to hear from you. Can we start with you, please? Thank you. Katharina, yes. Oh, there should be.
Okay. Yes, hello, my name is Katharina Kayser. I am the head of the Independent Evaluation Section of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. And we work, of course, within UNODC, evaluating projects and programs, but also way beyond policies and strategies. And we also work across the UN system, and very importantly, we try to work vertically, influencing the normative frames and making sure that evaluation finds its place within strategies, national strategies, within policies, so that evaluation is being budgeted for and planned for right from the beginning. And what we have here in front of us is a best practice. In this case, it's the evaluation of the National Anti-Corruption Plan in Ghana, where evaluation was planned for and budgeted for right from the beginning. And that, of course, did help a lot in building the right infrastructure so that the evaluation would be based on strong ownership of different partners. So the question was really on partnerships, right? Mm-hmm. So the key message here is front-loading the planning, ensuring an integration of evaluation right from the beginning, and creating a dialogue around why this is so important and why, if we do that, we are all winning from that. So I pass on the mic.
Thank you, Katharina. Thank you, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Kobina Annim. I head the National Statistical Office in Ghana. Two things. This morning we heard about inclusiveness a lot on the back of what we heard yesterday. And clearly it looks like National Statistical Offices are in the minority in this conversation. So we need to extend the inclusiveness to bring the National Statistical Service in this conversation on national evaluation capacities. One thing I can assure this community about is that we are actively working towards the World Data Forum in Medellin, in Colombia, and definitely conversations that have come up here will be extended to them. Quickly, something that came up on our discussion on the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, which the National Statistical Office in Ghana led, has to do with how do you disseminate the results after the evaluation has been done. And I find it very intriguing. It's not just about the partnership, it's not just about the capacities in doing it, but going the full length of the evaluation exercise up to the point of the dissemination that we ought to do. And again, that is what endorses the role of National Statistical Offices, because by their mandate, they are independent, they have all the platforms in doing that, and given the strategic partnership that we formed with academia and also with UNODC, we are not disseminating only within the spheres of what Statistical Service does, but also giving it an international touch as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samuel. Merci, Alice. Si vous voulez partager une réflexion, une idée qui est ressortie de votre discussion avec les partenaires. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Alice Mingninou et je viens du Bénin. Je travaille au Ministère des Enseignements maternels et primaires, éducation. Alors, on a échangé un peu sur l'utilisation des preuves des évaluations. Les facteurs de succès, le programme national d'alimentation scolaire qui a servi d'étude de cas, il y a eu des facteurs de succès dans la collaboration avec les partenaires, puisque les cantines scolaires fonctionnent bien. Et il y a une volonté politique manifeste parce que le programme est soutenu financièrement par le gouvernement. Toutefois, il y a quand même, au regard des résultats des évaluations, des aspects sur lesquels il faut travailler. Alors, ces défis, c'est de pouvoir vraiment ancrer le programme dans un paysage institutionnel et législatif propice. Parce que pour collaborer avec divers partenaires, il faut une coordination solide. Donc, il faut une institution bien forte pour faire tout ça et un cadre législatif pour la pérennisation de ce programme-là. Le programme national d'alimentation scolaire, c'est un programme intégré qui appelle une approche multisectorielle. Là aussi, j'ai retenu qu'il faut qu'on travaille sur cet aspect-là pour plus d'inclusion, de façon à bien cerner toutes les activités qui sont complémentaires à la mise en œuvre d'un programme d'alimentation scolaire qui souvent appelle assez de capacité de gestion, surtout que nous sommes à un rythme accéléré de couverture, d'extension de ce programme-là. Cela appelle une gestion des effets induits par cette extension rapide. Donc, il faut renforcer les capacités, il faut une multisectorialité. Et
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Professor Zhang, would you like to share one reflection or one idea that came out of your discussion? Thank you.
I'm Professor Zhang from UIBE. I involved in triangular cooperation in past decades with FAO, DFE, and GIZ. So I share the Sino-German scoping study on selected DAC members. So we found through our discussion that triangular cooperation is a good form and framework for global collaboration in evaluation. But the main challenge for triangular cooperation is that mutual understanding of terms and glossary. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kerry Albright. I'm from UNICEF, but I was sitting in a group with the government of Lesotho and WFP, talking about their long-standing school feeding program. And I think for me, what was so interesting, I'll talk a little bit maybe if we come back about barriers, but the enablers for this were the fact that it was a really long-standing partnership going back to 1965, and so the partnership had grown and the trust had grown between those two partners. It was also the fact that the evaluations were led and owned by the government with WFP in support, so there was a user, if you like, from the very beginning, a clear user. Also, the roles and responsibilities were clear in the soup. Everybody brought their own ingredients. And also the fact that the series of evaluations over the years led immediately to program improvements and policy adjustments as you went along. So you could see interim results almost straight away, things changing, which made a difference and sustained the partnership.
Thank you. Super. Michel?
Okay, thank you. We was presenting for the Global Coalition to support the country-led evaluation of Burkina Faso, where GEI, OECD, and also the CLEAR FA was supporting at the national level. What I've learned through the discussion that we have, one of the things we can take away is the fact that this evaluation, country-led evaluation, was a demand made by the country. And this was one of the key points that we can take, that when the country has already have this willing to do evaluation, it's easier to support them because you have this national leadership on doing the evaluation. And also one of the things that we learn on this discussion is the fact that when you have a country-led evaluation supported by the other partner, we should keep in mind that it's their evaluation, their methodology, their way to do it, and we are there to support this country and also negotiating with them on all the process. And this is something that can make it successful and also have some result that will be used by the local government because they are the one who is doing evaluation for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hello. My name is Joerg Faust. I'm director of the German Institute for Development Evaluation and currently chair of the DEval. And from the discussion, I found one particular point very interesting, and that is about a missing link, so a missing ingredient in Megan's soup. which is the role of regional associations and regional integration mechanisms as potential facilitators. So I think in the future it will be very important to think about what regional evaluation associations like AFREA or the European evaluation associations, together with regional integration mechanisms such as the African Union, the European Union, can do kind of in bridging evaluations across regions, in facilitating inter-regional collaboration in the field of evaluation. So that's, I think, an important issue for the future, to think more about these regional mechanisms in international evaluation collaboration. Thank you.
Yes, please, Hermes. Thank you. Thank you, Joerg.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Hermes Mauwa from Malawi's Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. I work in the Monitoring and Evaluation Department. From the group work, I can summarize such a way that we believe, because Malawi is a country that is going through a reform process of its M&D system, coming from background that we had very weak M&D systems, now moving into a direction where we want to strengthen the M&D system. So we have realized that collaborations are very beneficial to a country like ours in terms of resource sharing, knowledge sharing, and during the recent evaluations, we have come to know about best practices because of, such collaborations. So it's a positive to us. Suffice to say that the evaluation that have happened in the period that we've been having these collaborations have been demanded by us as government, and that our key stakeholders have come in to support us in the areas that I've just mentioned. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hermes. Thank you. Dugan?
Hi, I'm Dugan. I'm from the Global Evaluation Initiative. I think one of the things that came up for me very strongly, and I'm sorry to be such a boring manager, but this kind of collaborative work is expensive. It takes a lot of time. It takes a commitment. But I think the product is so much stronger. Somebody said yesterday, and I'm afraid I can't remember who it was, but I wrote it in my notebook, that learning without friends leads to narrow knowledge. And I think your hot pot analogy is appropriate. I think when your hot pot has only one ingredient, it's going to be okay, but it's not going to be super tasty. I think your hot pot, when it's built with your Malawian colleague, when your country office participates, when there are other people engaged, it's going to be all the more nourishing and all the more delicious. And I think for me, that's a real lesson, that if we want to make these evaluations influential, we want to make these systems strong, we have to put the energy, the work, the time, the money, and the care in. And I think it's exciting to be in this space. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to open the floor now if we have any colleagues who didn't have a chance to share or had thoughts of your own from your reflections in the discussion. Maybe Thuto, would you like to come in as well? We have the microphones that colleagues have. If you just put your hand. Any last thoughts from those of you in the audience? Yeah? Simon, you'd like to? Yeah? Thank you. Very briefly, thank you.
It's working. Good morning again. My name is Joerg Yaku. I'm the Vice President of ADS and the co-chair of EVAL Engineers. Very interesting. One question to the panel, I don't want to take it. What is the way forward as we are working to strengthen evidence use to these global collaborations?
Thank you.
Knowing that there are so many challenges happening. Country challenges, security challenges, free trade area challenge in Africa, language barriers, all those way forward, please. Anyone can take that. Thank you.
Thank you. Simon, yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think this is a very insightful session from the different groups, and I think what I want to add from the general lessons is that collaborations, both local and international, do not happen in a vacuum. It has to be part of a planned thing that every partner needs to commit. So it shouldn't be a system where a collaborator is a giver and the other is a recipient. In that instance, that collaboration cannot be very effective. We recognize our strength, we recognize our weaknesses, and we believe in the fact that putting our weaknesses and strengths together is the only way we can achieve what we want together. And I think this is a lesson that we're taking on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a beautiful sentiment, and it reminds me a bit of, there's another story, a fable about what we call stone soup, and the story is of a village where all the people were going hungry, and the family said, every family said, we don't have enough food, we don't have enough to make a soup or to make anything. And a wise woman was passing through the village, and she said, don't worry, I will teach you how to make stone soup. Soup out of a stone. And all the people looked at her and they said, but you can't eat a stone. How could we make stone soup? And she said, don't worry, I have a bit of magic. So she took the largest pot she could find in the village, and she took the largest stone, and she lifted the stone and she put it in the pot. And she said, now we're starting to make our soup, but I need just a little bit of pepper. Does any family? And one family said, yes, I have a bit of pepper. And they brought the pepper and they put it in. Said, now we just need a little bit of meat. Does somebody have a bone? And one family said, yes, I have one bone. They put it in the meat. And slowly, each house in the village brought the one thing that they had, and they put it into this soup. And by the end of the afternoon, they had this beautiful, bubbling soup that smelled delicious and was full of nutrients. And I think it was bringing together the weaknesses and the strengths of every family. They suddenly had a beautiful stone soup that they could eat. And I think the point of the story is also that we sometimes don't realize what is it that we're making as we're making it, but we recognize that together we're stronger. So thank you all for your time today. I heard a lot of thoughts about the ways forward. I think from our side, we are working now to document some of the lessons of this COVID-19 Global Coalition. As we work up that model, we'd like to also write down the stories and be more reflective also about the implications for other types of collaboration. I heard from our panel several suggestions around the different key ingredients of the soup. I think we heard about the importance of common language and shared glossaries and definitions. We need to know what is it that we're making so that we're not bringing the wrong things to the table. And I think we've heard also from several of the discussions the importance of leadership. Maybe that's the salt in the soup that brings out all the other flavors. And we need to have a very strong pot. That's the capacities in the national systems. I think we've heard over and over the importance of ownership and leadership from the country itself, and accountability to the people who are most impacted. So thank you all for your time. Thank you to the panel and to our other speakers on the floor and to all of you for participating. And happy cooking. And if the other speakers could join us at the front, we will be taking a photo.